Hello everyone, and welcome to the Week 14 NFL Player Prop Show. My name is Dylan Bird, here once again on Sal Vetri's YouTube channel, and we got a lot to get into today. Week 14 of the NFL season. It's crazy that there's only 4 more weeks left of the regular season. Season always goes so fast. It's just absolutely wild. And just to recap, last week went 7-4 overall on player props last week, went 5-3 on the 8 props that I talked about during last week's show, and then 2-1 on ones that I had added in. Before we get started here, just wanted to let you know that you could follow me on Twitter at sports_bird. Twitter is the place where I do update my props right before the 1 o'clock games, right before the 4 o'clock games, right before the Sunday night game, the Thursday night game, the Monday night game. I'm always tweeting about props, so be sure to be following me there for some updates on all the player props. So if I see something right before the games that I did not see when I did the show, I'll be sure to tweet it out, add it, so be following me there for my extra plays. In addition, I also have my own YouTube channel. I do my waiver wire show for fantasy football on Tuesdays, and I do my college football betting picks on Fridays. So if you're into that stuff, be sure to subscribe. The link is in the description below. And also, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel if you aren't already. It really helps me out. It really helps Sal out. In addition, this player prop show is sponsored by Monkey Knife Fight. You can go onto Monkey Knife Fight, and they will match your deposit 100% up to $50 with the promo code VETRI, VETRI. If you love prop betting, Monkey Knife Fight, it is an amazing place to take advantage of this great deposit bonus. Now let's get started. The first player prop that we are going to talk about this week, we are looking at Allen Robinson's receptions line against the Houston Texans at over/under 5.5. Allen Robinson comes into this game with a 25% matchup advantage against Houston corner Vernon Hargreaves, so huge matchup advantage there. In addition, we have seen that the Texans have a bad passing defense. They rank 27th in coverage, 26th in pass rush, and they are 21st in passing yards allowed per game at 255.4. Additionally, Allen Robinson has hit the over 5.5 in his last 5 weeks, averaging 6.4 receptions per game over the season. He's also getting targeted a ton. He ranks 4th in the NFL in targets at 115. That's 9.6 targets a game. So these Bears quarterbacks, whoever it is, whether it's Trubisky, whether it's Foles, now it's Trubisky, but these guys love throwing to Allen Robinson, the former Penn State wide receiver. Got to drop that in there. But we saw what T.Y. Hilton did to the Houston Texans last week. He had 8 catches for 110 yards and a touchdown. And I think Allen Robinson has a big day against this bad Texans secondary. He goes and hits his over 5.5 receptions in this game. The next player prop that we're going to talk about today, we are looking at Chris Godwin's receptions line over/under 5.5 in this game against the Minnesota Vikings. That's now 2 Penn State wide receivers in a row that we're talking about. Sorry, once again, had to throw that in there. Now, Chris Godwin comes in with a 50% matchup advantage against Jeff Gladney, which is the second highest matchup advantage in the NFL this week. He's averaging 6.1 receptions per game on 7.5 targets per game, so he's a favorite of Tom Brady despite Antonio Brown and Mike Evans being in that wide receivers room, and he's hit his over of 5.5 the past 3 weeks, averaging 7 receptions per week during that time period. In addition, the Bucs have the top pass blocking advantage of the week at 47% over the Minnesota Vikings, so Tom Brady's going to have a ton of time to throw on this bad Minnesota Vikings secondary. The Vikings rank 26th in opponent passing yards per game at 261.7. In addition, they don't have any pass rush at all. They rank 30th in the NFL in pass rush, according to Pro Football Focus. Godwin may just have his best game of the season here against the Minnesota Vikings, and I definitely think he hits his over 5.5 receptions in this game. The next player prop that we're going to talk about today, we have A.J. Brown's receiving yards prop at over/under 68.5. A.J. Brown, just like the last 2 guys, comes in with a huge matchup advantage, the 8th highest of the week, this time over Trey Herndon at 32% matchup advantage. In addition, Tennessee has the 4th highest pass blocking advantage of the week at 23%, so Tannehill going to have a lot of time to throw the ball. Now, Jacksonville is inept at guarding wide receivers, and when I say inept, I mean they cannot guard a wide receiver to save their lives. We saw Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen torch the Jacksonville secondary last week, pocketing me a decent amount of money, and all those people who tailed Jefferson's over receiving yards, Adam Thielen's over receptions. So these guys, they were just racking in the catches, the yards, and this is what every single player who plays the Jacksonville Jaguars does. If you look at Jarvis Landry a few weeks ago when he played against them, 143 receiving yards. Now, if you go back to the week before that, Deontay Johnson, 111, and then you go back the week before that, you have Marcus Valdez-Scantling putting up over 140 receiving yards. So Every single wide receiver that goes against Jacksonville torches them. Now, A.J. Brown is next up here. He faces a Jacksonville secondary that's allowing 279.1 passing yards to their opponent on average, ranks 29th in the NFL. In addition, Jacksonville has the 27th ranked pass rush and are 30th ranked in coverage according to Pro Football Focus. So as long as A.J. Brown plays, now he's questionable in this game with a sprained ankle, this will be an absolute bloodbath for A.J. Brown against Jacksonville. Now, if A.J. Brown does not play, just keep a lookout on Twitter for that. I will be tweeting out, injury reports and whether I'm going to pivot to Corey Davis, which I may if A.J. Brown is out. So just keep an eye open for that. But right now, assuming A.J. Brown plays, A.J. Brown will hit his over 68.5 receiving yards in this game against the Jacksonville Jaguars. The fourth player prop that we're going to talk about today, we are looking at Tyreek Hill's receptions line, which is over under 5.5. Going to keep this one short. Tyreek Hill comes in with a top matchup advantage of the week over Nick Needham of the Miami Dolphins at 54%. Again, first in the NFL this week in matchup advantage for wide receiver over a corner. Tyreek Hill, he's been destroying everyone. He's destroying this 5.5 receptions number every single week. He has 39 receptions over the past 4 weeks, so he's averaging a little over 9 per game in that time period. And Kansas City is tied with the second highest pass blocking advantage in the NFL this week, which means Mahomes will have a ton of time to throw. Anytime Mahomes has a ton of time to throw, that's usually a really, really bad sign for the opponent. Miami's defense is around league average, so it's not like they're that bad. It's just this Kansas City Chiefs offense and Tyreek Hill specifically, they've been unstoppable. And this number 5.5 is just way, way, way too low, especially with the streak that Tyreek Hill is on right now. So Tyreek Hill will hit his over 5.5 receptions prop in this game. For our fifth NFL player prop that we're going to talk about today, we are going to look at Russell Wilson's passing yards line, which is at over under 300.5 in this game against the New York Jets. Now, Russell Wilson has not hit over 300.5 passing yards since week 9. He's played a tough span of defenses during that time period. The Rams, the Cardinals, the Eagles, the Giants, all average to good in terms of how they are defensively. Now, Russell Wilson, he started off the season so strong, was almost a guaranteed MVP winner, it seemed, had 5 300-plus yard games in his first 8, and then goes on this somewhat cold streak here. Now, the Seattle Seahawks, they're coming off a loss to the New York Giants where they couldn't get anything going offensively against that good Giants defense, and this is the ultimate get-right game against the New York Jets here. The Jets are 31st in the NFL, allowing 291 passing yards per game. They also rank 32nd in coverage according to Pro Football Focus, and quarterbacks have had field days against the New York Jets. We saw what Derek Carr did to the Jets in that game, throwing for over 300 yards, including that game-winning touchdown to Henry Ruggs. Thank you, Greg Williams, once again. As a Jet fan, I'm saying that. Thank you, Greg Williams, because if we end up getting Trevor Lawrence because of that, that would be absolutely hilarious, and I think that that's what is going to end up happening. So, anyway, I think Russell Wilson goes out there against the Jets, this Jets defense with a new defensive coordinator, and I think he absolutely torches them. I think he has a huge day and goes over 300.5 passing yards in this game. The next player prop that we are going to talk about today, we're looking at Jonathan Taylor's rushing yards line against the Las Vegas Raiders at 58.5 in this game. I had Jonathan Taylor over rushing yards last week. He gave me a little bit of a scare and then came on strong at the end, ending with 91 rushing yards on just 13 carries. He only got 49.3% of the snaps, but that was still the highest on the team out of the running backs. Jonathan Taylor's now had over 90 rushing yards in his last 2 games, and this Raiders run defense is atrocious. The Colts have the top run blocking advantage of the week at 67%. In addition, Las Vegas is allowing 121.1 rushing yards per game, which ranks 20th in the NFL, and they are 30th in Pro Football Focus's run defense grade. So, look, this Raiders run defense is really bad. This Raiders run defense, they just allowed Ty Johnson and Josh Adams to rush for 178 yards on 30 carries, basically, against them. I mean, 2 guys who have barely seen the field all year, have barely seen the field in their entire NFL careers, and they're going out there and rushing like they're in a college football game and just running all over the Raiders. I expect that if Jonathan Taylor gets around 13 carries, which is what he had last game, he will shatter this 58.5 rushing yards total. So I like Jonathan Taylor to go over 58.5 rushing yards in this game against the Raiders. The next player prop that we're going to talk about today, we're looking at Devontae Adams' receptions total at over under 7.5 against the Detroit Lions. Adams is another wide receiver that comes in with a huge matchup advantage this week. 43% against Lions corner Amani Oruwariye. That's the 3rd highest on the slate this week. And you'll recognize that I've gone back to Adams' receptions over and over and over and over and over and over again. And that is because they refuse to move it up. The bookmakers refuse to move this up. Adams is averaging 8.4 receptions per game on 11.1 targets per game, and he tends to dominate these easy matchups. And again, these bookmakers just refuse to move that 7.5 line up. He's hit this 7.5 number in only 4 of his last 7 games, but 2 of them he ended at 7, and 1 of them he's ended at 6. But again, he's been dominating these easy matchups, and the Lions have a horrific pass defense. The Packers rank 5th in pass blocking advantage this week at 22%, and the Detroit Lions, they're allowing 261.7 passing yards per game, which ranks 27th in the NFL. They rank 31st in coverage according to Pro Football Focus. This is going to be a massive day for Adams against Aurier and the Lions. He hits his over 7.5 receptions total in this game. The last player prop that we're going to talk about today, we're looking at Keenan Allen's receptions total in this game against the Atlanta Falcons, which is at over under 6.5 in this game. Now, Keenan Allen comes in with a 24% matchup advantage over Falcons corner Isaiah Oliver. The Falcons have an awful pass defense. They're allowing 285.2 yards per game through the air, which ranks 30th in the NFL, and Keenan Allen ranks first in the NFL in receptions with 90, which is at 7.5 per game. He ranks first in targets as well at 133, which is at 11.1 per game. He's gone under the 6.5 number in each of the last 3 weeks, but all of them were tough matchups. Miami, Buffalo, New England, just not ideal matchups for a guy like Keenan Allen, for any wide receiver, I should say. But right before these 3 weeks, he played the Jets, and he went for 16 receptions that game. And going back further than that, he's torched easy opponents all year. Opponents like Vegas and Jacksonville, where he went for 9 and 10 receptions, respectively. Allen eats in easy matchups, and I expect that again this week against the Atlanta Falcons, a game where I expect to be a lot of passing, a lot of scoring, and I think Keenan Allen's over 6.5 receptions hits in this game. And that is a wrap for the Week 14 NFL Player Prop Show. Just a reminder to subscribe to this channel and like this video if you haven't already. Also, be sure to be following me on Twitter at sports_bird. I will be updating everyone with my props, whether I'm adding, whether I'm subtracting, whether I'm subbing one prop out for another. I'll be updating up until the game times, 1, 4, Sunday night, Monday night. I don't have any Monday night currently on this slate, but I'm sure I will be adding for the Monday night slate. So be sure to stay tuned for that. Also, be sure to subscribe to my own YouTube channel, SportsBird. I do my waiver wire show every Tuesday there. I do my college football betting picks every Friday there. So the link is in the description. Be sure to subscribe to that if you really enjoy that stuff. Also, I have some pretty cool content coming in there. Once football season ends, I'll be doing college basketball betting picks. I'll be doing NBA player props. So subscribe to that if you enjoy all of that stuff. And other than that, goodbye everyone, and good luck with your prop betting this week.